Michael Joseph Jackson. I know him, and so do you. Oh yeah, we're getting right into this shindig. I really couldn't figure out how to open this video. But if you must know, I was given this USB drive that goes hee hee when I open it. Watch. Who gave me this? Why? Michael was an artist who, at a young age, revolutionized his art of music. Beginning his career as a member of the Jackson 5 before embarking on a solo career that continues to benefit him and his estate. He taught us that it doesn't matter if you're black or white, he's been both in a single lifetime. I'm serious, this dude went from black to white to ghost. He was also responsible for one of, if not the most expensive music video of all time. Mother of God. Hey, at least a good chunk of his discography were certified bangers. Wait, you had a Michael Jackson in your universe? No, not really. We had Kylie Mapson. She kind of fell off after becoming a wrestling diva, in my opinion. But the point is, my late uncle had his entire discography. Thriller, Bad, Off the Wall, Dangerous, you name it, he had it.
Wait, you just said you didn't have him at home.
Interdimensional travel was super experimental when I was growing up. I think that's what did him in, to be honest. He just kind of vanished without a trace one day, and we all assumed he died. But I know what really happened that day, and I can't bring myself to tell them the truth. But as the saying goes, if anything becomes popular, it's gonna get plastered on everything, regardless of who or what you are. But today's focus is on video games, so no need to talk about this bootleg candy bucket from Mexico that I found one day. Jackson's no stranger to the medium of video games. I mean, it's well known that he was an epic gamer and composed a few tracks for Sonic the Hedgehog 3 on the Genesis, but went uncredited for unknown reasons. And by that I mean multiple conflicting reasons, making it one of the biggest mysteries in gaming history. But he made cameo appearances in Space Channel 5 Part 1 and Part 2, so whatever happened back then, it was just water under the bridge, I guess. Of course, he was a playable fighter in Ready to Rumble Boxing Round 2, along with Bill and Hillary Clinton. The hell? And the song Beat It was supposed to be in Guitar Hero Rocks the 80s, but ended up in World Tour years later. Must have been all that KFC money. Not to mention the dozens and dozens of parodies and references within media in general. Even after his passing in 2009, we're still humming his tunes, no matter how crazy he was. Wait, he's been dead for 16 years? How? Acute propofol intoxication, because he was using it to sleep. Propofol? Wait, that's supposed to be given to you in a hospital setting. And that's like doing chemo because you're tired of shaving your head. Ain't the first time someone said that. But in my case, it's almost like replacing your morning coffee with cocaine. Back on topic. What I want to cover are the games that were approved by Jackson's company, Triumph International. What's that? Wait, oh, they changed it. What'd they change it to? Hold on. Let me just... Optimum Productions? Okay, well, I'm not going down that confusing rabbit hole. In fact, let's get these out of the way now. Escape the Ayuwoki, Planet Michael, the Java phone titles, and Michael Jackson in Scramble Training I will not cover. I am aware 3 of them are official, but one is a free-to-play MMORPG that's more elusive than Half-Life 3, another is a pain in the ass to emulate and can be summarized in one sentence in a post-iPhone ecosystem. I'm not joking about that one, by the way. And the last is a motion ride for arcade venues that has been out of commission for about 30 plus years. Clips from the ride can be found online, though. Anyway, enough sulking about the past. Let's go back to the past with Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. Yeah, does anybody remember this movie? It was done by Jackson's company and distributed by Warner Brothers, starring Michael himself, and honestly, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. The first half is kind of straightforward. It's a summary of his career up to that point, and the debut of 2 music videos, Speed Demon and Leave Me Alone. We also have a scene where Kid Jackson is grabbing his balls too hard. That may explain why his voice is so high. The other half becomes a proper movie, and it's, Michael and co discover a hidden entrance to an underground laboratory owned by Joe Pesci, who intends to distribute illegal substances to children. Yep, this was the 80s, and the war on drugs was just a distraction from the real issues. They're then forced to run from Pesci after he catches them in the lab, with this portion of the movie essentially just being an extended chase scene. After a shooting star passes by, he then transforms into a self-driving Tesla that puts the DeLorean to shame in terms of horsepower, Jesus Christ, and then later causes trouble at a nearby bar, packs some frickin' heat, and becomes a Transformer after that same shooting star passes by yet again. Pesci then attempts to shoot Mecha Jackson out of the sky, only to get blown up up himself in a very spectacular fashion. He then leaves Earth's atmosphere, but then comes back to take the children to a concert where he covers a Beatles song, because he owned their entire discography at the time. What is this movie? I mean, this still performed very well at the box office, to the point where it received multiple video game adaptations, starting with a version released in 1989 for the Amiga, Atari ST, Commodore 64, Amstrad CPC, MSX, ZX Spectrum, and MS-DOS. Jesus Christ. All these versions are identical from what I looked up. The differences mostly boil down to visuals and audio. I mean, I did try to get some of these versions working, but I forgot trying to get them working requires an engineering degree, something that I don't have. Plus, some of RetroArch's cores just didn't want to work for me. In the end, I decided not to review these versions of the game, but from what I looked up online, I don't really think I'm missing much. I mean, it sure looks like a late 80s home computer game. What else do you want me to say? Now, let's get into the first games you think of when Moonwalker comes to mind. The Genesis and arcade versions by Sega, released in 1990. I'm going to cover the arcade version first, since that came out a month before the Genesis game, and to make a long story short, it looks and sounds great for a 90s arcade title. And it's damn fun. It's an isometric beat-em-up where you save the kids while murdering every goon you can think of. Regular goons, goons with guns, robo-goons, turret goons, zombie goons, super mecha death Christ goons. I mean, when I said everything, I meant everything. Along with the kitchen sink. Because why not?
Wait, hold up. Did you say saving kids?
Oh, it's far worse out of context, believe me. Bubbles, Jackson's pet monkey, even shows up as a power-up. Find him and become Mecha Jackson for the entire level. There's even dance numbers that completely wipe out everything on the screen and does a crap ton of damage to bosses. You only have a limited amount of those screen nukes, and in order to get more, you gotta save a kid and hope to God they give you ammo for it. Yes, every level has a set number of kids to save. Some of them will just say thank you and leave, others will heal you or give you that aforementioned screen nuke ammo. The only issue I have with the game is that you can only play with up to 3 players at the same time. I really don't get it. But if you have a dedicated group of friends, give this game a shot. Whether you find the real cabinet out in the wild or just play through emulation. The game is pretty tough too, but some sections are not even subtle with its quarter eating practices, like goddamn, that shit hurted! I also ran into so many problems just trying to get this game up and running. RetroArch wasn't having any of it with the included MAME cores, so I tried MAME itself, the arcade emulator. But it was missing shit that really shouldn't be missing after checking an arcade database. Most people would have just given up here, but if there's one thing you should know about me, I am not most people. I got the Wii version of MAME that hadn't been updated since 2011, and after some ROM shenanigans, I finally got it to work. Just not at full speed, but I put up with it because I really needed the footage. Still a great game though, but I gotta move on to the home console title. Surprisingly, along with the Genesis game, there was also a Master System version, but that's just a watered-down version of the 16-bit game. But Green Boy, I hear you asking, how does the 16-bit game play? You beat up bad guys, find and rescue the kids, again, worse out of context, follow your living compass Bubbles when he shows up, survive the enemy onslaught, and then move on to the next area. Lather, rinse, repeat for 5 different locations with 3 stages each for a total of 15 stages. I can't believe I actually did that in one breath. Jesus Christ. Michael's method of defense isn't really a magic satchel, but rather sparkles. Okay, then. I'm just going to assume he's throwing sharp needles out of his sleeve because it's really funny. But, if he did manage to pull out a gun, the game would be over in like 0.5 seconds, because all he'd have to do is just...
Oh, that was a lucky shot, you clever son of a...
He can toss his hat as a good long-range option, and at the cost of half of his health, he can get a dance number that's pretty much a glorified screen nuke to anyone who decides to stick around. I had no clue dancing like Michael Jackson will really knock the soul out of you. Humans aren't the only ones who can join in on this. Animals can too, reminding me of the live-action Scooby-Doo when the dogs decide to join in. Thanks for that, game. Spiders can also join in for some reason, and if you can actually see them, it's adorable. I mean, it's a shame they're so small, but if they were any bigger, they would have been frostbite spiders, and I don't think Michael would want to deal with those things. Quick tip, if you're going to use the screen nuke, make sure enemies don't decide to leave the screen while you do this. Otherwise, you just wasted your time and your health. It's even worse when you get into an enemy onslaught because you have no healing items. You also don't want your health to get into the red, otherwise he loses the sparkle, neutering his range, and becoming more useful than a used condom. And before you ask, yes, collecting children heals you. Make of that what you will. Well, it's not like that matters, because enemies suffer the retro game cliche of respawning the moment you off-screen them. My favorite. By the way, I played both the retail game and the beta version dated April 24th, 1990. There are some differences in both music and gameplay, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to them. I mean, I do like the different drum sample they used here compared to the final game.
Michael.
Aside from that, yep, it sure does feel like a beta. You alright, sir? You know what? Because long videos are really satisfying to make, and this little thing called the algorithm loves them, let's tackle this stage by stage, shall we? Stage 1, Club 30. Possibly the strangest and most hostile nightclub I've seen, because 1-2 lays itself out like an apartment complex for some reason. Guess this place is addressing the future housing crisis. Oh, and you can't jump on and off stairs here. I didn't know Jackson was a Belmont. Oh, but wait, he can jump off the stairs once he's on them, so... Actually, stairs are rather jank in this game, as you need to line yourself up just right. Otherwise, you're just gonna walk right past it like a dope. By the way, you can slide downstairs by pressing the attack button on the way down. I really didn't know where to mention this. Stage 2, the streets. Why is there a child in the dumpster? Why are there 2 of them in the sewers trying to look for Master Splinter? Why is there a child in the trunk of someone's car? Why is there a child just chilling on the roof? Do I have to call CPS? Why are these dogs so damn hard to hit? Something tells me I'm not getting an answer to that last one. They move so fast once you approach them, it's like playing against Guile in Smash Brothers. By the way, this is where shooting stars will start appearing. If you get it, you get to become Mecha Jackson. Or some melted wax model that kind of looks like him. You've got lasers, rockets, and you're completely invulnerable for a short time. The problem is, you can't really save the kids in this form. I'm gonna end up on some sort of list if I keep this up. These shooting stars are pretty damn rare, and 9 times out of 10, you're gonna miss because Michael is pretty slippery on the move and holds on to whatever momentum he has while jumping. But if you somehow get into its range, go for it. The invincibility won't hurt, especially against those damn dogs. PW be damned. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, during the segment where Bubbles acts like your compass, the whole level is completely empty. And I mean empty. This happens with every single level, by the way. It's like Pesci's army just evacuated the entire city after the children fly away on their shooting stars. Look, I knew what Pesci was doing those kids a favor. Oh, and try not to get too close to Pesci when he pops up, because he hurts. Stage 3, the woods. More like the graveyard, Jesus Christ. Also, why the hell are kids playing out here? Am I missing something, or is this a small party hosted by Wednesday Addams? Fun fact, the beta version of this game had Thriller as the background music, but they switched it out with Another Part of Me in the final game. I was told this was a rights thing, but I bet it was changed to promote his 7th and, at the time, latest studio album. I don't blame him, but still a missed opportunity nevertheless. The retail game still has the dance, but it's so odd seeing it with a different song. Oh, guess I'll shut up now. All joking aside, some retail copies still have Thriller as the song used for the screen nuke dance, but yeah, later copies don't have it. It's confusing. Legalese is annoying. This is kind of where I called it quits on legitimately playing the final game. all because of these zombies that can split themselves in half just to kill you. You can only tank hits for so long, and again, once you lose your sparkle, you really can't do much. Oh, and did I mention the zombies are invincible while their torsos are chasing you down? Now that's what I like to call a bullshit, and the dance number can only do so much. I had to use the level select code to get to stage 4. A little strange on how you activate it too. Hold up left A and start on controller 2 while the game boots up, and then press start on controller 1, then select player 1 game, and lo and behold, you can pick any level in the game. Wow. The beta allowed you to pick whatever level you want, including levels within said world. So this ain't my first rodeo, bucko. Stage 4, the caverns. One word, why? There's so many why questions that I can't ask them anymore. But I'll give you 2. Why are kids hanging out here? And why is Billie Jean playing? In this level, certain marked walls can be destroyed by pressing up on the D-pad, and they lead to another room, but the amount of gotcha rooms that plague this place is just freaking astonishing. You have to explore every nook and cranny to find these kids. Some of them are in those rooms I mentioned, so those gotcha moments are essentially inevitable. And these small spiders that are stupidly hard to hit are not helping. Then there's this shit. Yeah, thanks for that, you dick. Thank God for the full health refill once you round up all the kids in the level. That was a sentence I never thought I'd say. Final stage, the enemy hideout, aka just die. That wasn't a request, that's a demand. Sparks coming off the walls, lasers flying up and down and all around, not just from the ceilings, but also enemies who can carry laser guns, and they both hurt like a kick to the nuts. And did I mention that this was all in the game's normal difficulty? It's even worse in the beta because the moment a stray bullet or laser grazes your head, you're as good as dead. Well, better outcome than having your hair set on fire, that's for damn sure. All right, let's just get this over with.
No, stop, goddammit, stop!
All right, I'm tapping out. It's an interesting footnote in Jackson's short-lived video game career, but it's got that old school bullshit that plagues a lot of these games. Try it out only if you're curious. And if you plan on playing this via real hardware, be prepared to pay through the nose for a copy, near double digits for the cart alone, triple digits for the complete package. Afterwards, he did the ghostwriting and the cameos I mentioned earlier, and that was pretty much the extent of it. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, he did not get his own game again until Michael Jackson The Experience in 2010, developed and published by Ubisoft. By the time the game came out, he had already been dead for a year. But what did Ubisoft get to make with the blessings from the Jackson estate? A platformer? A minigame collection? An open-world adventure title that they like to shit out once a year? No. They made a rhythm game. Yeah, about friggin' time. I also won't be able to use the audio from the footage because all versions of The Experience use the master recordings. Great for fans, but hell for creators like myself. Especially crushing given that half of his discography is owned by Sony. Fun fact, acquiring half of Jackson's entire discography costed Sony $600 million US. Research is fun. Look, if a teaser that I attempted to post within an update video got blocked worldwide, then I'm not taking any chances. Copyright is freaking busted, man. The Wii and PS3 versions were developed by Ubisoft, Montpellier, Milan, and Paris. One of those divisions I am very familiar with thanks to ZombiU, but 3 divisions for what's essentially a Just Dance game? I feel like my brain is gonna fry just thinking about it.
That didn't stop him!
For the 3 people in the back who may not be familiar with Just Dance, grab your controller or Kinect and dance along to your favorite licensed tunes with the silhouette. That's it. It's a simple concept that anyone can grasp, which is why they continue to crap out new entries every single year, and single-handedly kept the Wii alive. The PS3 version, in addition to being the better-looking version, also includes microphone support, so if you still have those microphones from when you played Rock Band back in the day, you can sing along to these songs until your lungs collapse. Why yes, my vocal cords do hate me, thank you for asking. Now I played the Wii version for this video, and because you're waggling the remote and not properly dancing alongside the dancer, it feels like something's missing, you know? The game sort of expects you to dance along to a T, but if you're playing on the Wii, you can get away with half-assing the dance and get a decent score. I did say sometimes, right? The only positive I have for not half-assing the dance is that it gives you a really good full-body workout. I mean, you are going to be sweating like crazy. Trust me. But no matter your playstyle, timing can be incredibly spotty. I mean, come on, like, I totally nailed that game. The PSP and DS versions were developed by Ubisoft Sao Paulo. One is a slower version of Elite Beat Agent, while the other involves pressing the right buttons at the right time. Though props to the DS version for having a stupidly creative anti-piracy measure. For those not in the know, if the game detected a pirated copy, not only would the music in menus sound like compressed garbage, but in gameplay, the music would be drowned out by vuvuzelas, no inputs would pop up, and the game will crash without fail. My ears hurt. I should mention, I actually played this on my modded Wii U. The same with the Wii game. And just looking at this, it's so cursed. But if I can play the DS game on my Wii U without issue, then I guess the anti-piracy measure got patched out ages ago. By the way, the DS overlay looks really good, but it is so bad for gameplay. The touch window on the gamepad is just way too small. In hindsight, I probably should not have used the fountain pen stylus. The iOS, PlayStation Vita, and 3DS versions were developed by Ubisoft Shanghai. The iOS version was unfortunately delisted from Apple's App Store ages ago, and even if you still have it on your device, it doesn't work with the latest iOS or iPadOS versions. I did consider emulating the Vita version, assuming it was identical to the iOS version, but after looking up footage, I realized, oh, it uses the back trackpads and the touchscreen. I feel like this would work better on the Steam Deck, but I don't have one, so to the 3DS version I went, and at least you have a full bottom screen to play with, but it's so clear that the 3DS is struggling to run this game, especially when 3D is involved. Keep going, buddy, you're gonna make it, I just know it! All you have to do is just flick in the stated direction or trace certain shapes. However, you need to use the touchscreen for everything, not just within gameplay, but to navigate menus, even if there are perfectly working buttons on the console. Why? And in-game, the touchscreen can sometimes go, "Nuh-uh, that shit didn't count it," when you clearly did the right shape on the touchscreen. And the way you unlock higher difficulties is just odd. It is very clearly based off the iOS version. The Xbox 360 version was handled by Ubisoft Montreal, and I unfortunately ran into issues getting this to work. 2 reasons. I didn't feel like paying some Joe Schmo for this decade-old Kinect game that is no longer being sold officially, and I couldn't get the recently discovered bad update exploit working since I don't have an RGH modded console. But from what I've seen, this version is the most unique. Instead of dancing alongside the silhouette, timing your button presses, or playing Elite Beat Agents mixed with Otsu on Molasses, you get to become Jackson himself. Minus the court hearings. In all seriousness, you are just plastered on the stage, and you dance along to these songs a la Dance Central. Sometimes the game will force you to stop dancing and just sing. But given how microphone reliability on the Kinect is on a game-by-game basis, yeah, I can just picture the mic sounding like this.
Hey buddy, can you shut up?
The strangest thing about these games, though, is the song list. Not every version gets every song. This list from Wikipedia should give you an idea on what I'm talking about. Some songs in the list just stick out for the wrong reasons as well. Like, why is Heal the World an Earth song here? These are much slower songs that make me want to pull out a lighter and sway, not groove like the world is ending. There was also a retailer-exclusive song. That only happened once, and it was at a Walmart, of all places. Yeah, the same place that housed Chibi Robo Park Patrol, and for some baffling reason, the song they chose was Another Part of Me. Keep in mind, this song was in every version except the iPad and iPhone versions. In my opinion, it should have been Hollywood Tonight, since that's only in 3 versions of the game. Or better yet, throw in some of his, at the time, unreleased tracks as retailer exclusives. Yeah, that would get fans to buy. Either way, Michael Jackson The Experience, no matter what version, is literally an honest-to-God cash grab. And given Ubisoft's history, I am not surprised. And that was it. As far as I'm aware, aside from the Java phone titles, that was it for his gaming career. I'm just going to assume the Jackson estate wanted nothing to do with the gaming industry anymore, or they just plain forgot about it. I mean, they forgot about their MMO, so that really doesn't surprise me. If you plan on playing any one of these games that I showed off here, make it the arcade version of Moonwalker. It's hard as hell, but damn it, is it fun. Especially with friends, a shitload of quarters, and maybe a hint of willpower. Only play the other games if you're very curious, or you just want to dance like you just don't care. Hello? What?
Good afternoon, I'm Brad Arnold.
We interrupt this scheduled programming for some breaking news. An outbreak of a mysterious disease has started spreading across the Center District. The disease in question has caused people to start dancing randomly.
The ones questioned said they couldn't stop dancing or they couldn't control themselves. Others started screaming and begging for mercy. More on the story as it evolves, but for now, it is paramount that you avoid travel at all costs and keep yourself safe. Who knows what this disease is capable of? More on the story and others at 11, right here on Kivix News.
Mother of God. Hey, dude. I went perusing in the drive that you got, and, you should probably come see this. Alright, pal, I read your note. What's the deal with all this? Not gonna listen? Fine. Don't say I didn't warn you. You know, from behind, you almost kinda look like... So, do you wanna do the smart thing and back down, or do you wanna screw around and find out? Figures. Before we get started, I should probably let you in on a little something. I'm fresh out of skin lotion.
3, 2, 1, go!
Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Know your place.
You could have joined in on the beating, you know. Why didn't you? Well, spill it. It's quite a long story. Could be its own miniseries one day. Oh, how cheeky. I didn't think you had it in you. I'll take care of them. Yeah, sorry, but you're not doing this on your own. I know you can communicate through my thoughts, so I'll make this quick. Head to the laboratory in the basement, find containers 3 and 4, and toss them both in the gold substance nearby. Those containers contain the essence of both Darkon and Galeem. We form them both and destroy the timeline before it ruptures. That outbreak originated here and has no traditional cure. Destroying this timeline is the only foolproof way to fully eradicate it. Old move, Sephi. Even for me. Do whatever you need to do. I'll be fine. Just go. About time I put this mere child in their place.
This mere child has created a plague, and you couldn't even end the world with a parasite by your side. You've outlived your usefulness the moment you gave me Michael's DNA.
This feels like fan fiction made by someone high off his ass, but you know what? Let's give the people what they came for. What just happened? Okay, then I might as well just Restart, then. What? Wait. Hold on. Where'd all my files go? Wait. Oh. Damn it. That's right, I destroyed the timeline. And because the timeline got destroyed, I was never given that USB drive to make the video in the first place. Man, I really need to save up for those timeline agnostic hard drives. Green boy, we need some help. Alright, on my way, dude.